Okay, so thank you, Umar, for taking the time to come over and be part of this. What we normally do in our company is we every Mondays or every other Mondays, we encourage our team members to present anything they like. It just gives them like a a bit to open up and just public speaking, and also. So we did that the whole year or 2 years, and then everybody in the team had their turns, and we were like, what do we do now? So I said, okay, let's get some guest speakers. So so you're our third guest speaker in the last two months, and basically just going through my contacts, and I said, okay, let's start with my contacts, and then we can get some people from other domains, and obviously. What you've done is amazing. It's a great success story, and I guess it's and the term sustainability is used very differently. It's quite a buzzword these days. So the whole idea now in this kind of Q&A session or kind of informal chat is to get to know you a bit more and how the idea of export leftovers, came into being. But let's before that, I'll give a little bit quick intro of our company. So Aceso Analytics is a company we're based our headquarters in Norway, in Oslo, and we have a subsidiary in London, and then we have a team in Pakistan, in Asia. So we have a team in Pakistan, very split in different cities, as you know, as you've already spoken to a few, in India, in Egypt, and yes, in the UK and in Norway. So very exciting, because I think during pandemic we decided to expand into Asia, just because we're like, everybody's working from home, why not make use of an offshore team, and it's been great. So yeah, and our focus has been on analytics and data analytics in different industries, healthcare especially, doing sound analysis to identify elderly people, how their activities in the houses without intruding privacy. So so that's kind of our domain, and also we're quite proud to launch a new platform, analytics platform we call Stack8s. If you're not aware, what K8s is short for Kubernetes, which is a platform based created by Google, and they open sourced it for managing containers, etc. And the whole idea was that we need to create a platform that makes it easy for developers to do analytics on, and also it has to be sustainable, because sustainability in IT is not being talked of a lot. So and what I'll do is I'll present a few slides just to get the set the scene, and
sure,
and then we can. All right, let's go. There we go. So yeah, the topic today is going to be addressing sustainability from cloud to clothing. And obviously we'll speak to Umar about his journey. But before that, I mean, just a couple of slides to tell the audience that, sustainability in IT is something that's not been talked a lot. We all know the buzzword AI, and how the compute has gone through the roof, right? You can see the stocks of NVIDIA and everything, because the compute behind machine learning has increased so much that 7 to 14% is expected in electricity use just in IT by 2030. But there's one thing to note. When you have virtual machines that are doing your little bit of compute, most of the time they're sitting idle and doing nothing. So when you calculate that, it's around $103 billion. That's in terms of money, but that's wasted in just idle compute, right? So So our idea with Stack This is like, can you use things a bit more cleverly, where you can, utilize when the demand is lower, usually in the nights in different regions in the world. So where you can shift load in places where the demand is low. And obviously there's very low latency now with internet and everything, and it's quite interesting to see or have the tooling where you can do analytics in places where you don't need real time results, and you can do number crunching slowly, but do it in a place where the demand is low, so you kind of save on that. And the other thing that our product we're trying to address is, the cloud providers themselves. You don't want to get stuck into like Azure or GCP or AWS. So have the tooling where you can move your load from one to another. If in the future one addresses, some other problems you've been having, moving your whole software stack to another cloud provider can become very difficult. So we are utilizing Kubernetes and some clever ways to allow the end user or the end organization to move their entire software stack from one cloud provider to another, or to their own data center, or to a data center that's running 100% on renewables. So that's the idea. So I would just stop here and go back to the first slide and formally welcome Umar. Umar, how do I know Umar? Umar was studying in Edinburgh, and I was doing my PhD back then, and it's a. How did I get to? I was just thinking of it. Was it the movie nights that you were organizing,
Yes,
right?
it was.
So
It was a movie night. Yeah.
yeah. So in Edinburgh, what Umar was doing was he created a society or a group where he was presenting, or he was showing movies that were banned in different countries. So the movie that was banned in Pakistan at that time was called Kiss of the Moon, Chand Ki Chummi, right? And if you guys can Google, I think the movie came out in 2009, and it was about Khusraz, right? And it was quite fascinating. I wanted to go and see it, obviously, because you couldn't find it, and I was like, yeah. And obviously, that's how I got to know Umar, and I was quite happy to see that somebody is taking that initiative to spread the word. Things that are banned in the country. Why there's taboos and stuff like this? So yeah, so we've been friends since then, and. Yeah, been a nice journey. But to kick things off in this call, Umar, I would like to ask you about your childhood,
Mm-hmm.
where you grew up. Was it Faisalabad, right? And if yes, then Faisalabad is very well known for being like the center for fabrics and everything. So how was it like growing up in a society where probably your father was in a business like this? How was it? Please.
First of all, thank you for having me, Jeremy. It's an honor to speak to you and speak to your team. So I was born in Lahore, but I lived in Faisalabad all my life. Childhood was really good. Normal childhood. I went to an all-boys school in Faisalabad, and all the boys things, and wasn't really aware of a world outside of Pakistan. To be honest, I just knew Faisalabad, and my family all is in textiles. Everybody I knew was either into manufacturing of fabrics, or trading of fabrics, like we call yarn, Sutar Mandi. So there's the biggest yarn market in Asia is in Faisalabad. So my uncle was a yarn trader. One of my uncle was used to have shuttle-less looms, where you put the yarn and you get fabric, which is used in jeans and towels. So and my father was a manufacturer of knitted garments like t-shirts and polo shirts, and he used to export to Europe and US. So everybody around me was in textiles. So, and the school I went to, there were like about 20 kids, 20 boys, and 18 of them, their parents had something to do with textile. So very, very textile oriented upbringing, I would say. And when it comes to numbers, Faisalabad contributes to about 40% of Pakistan's textile exports. And it's very big with bed sheets, towels, and to a lesser extent, knitted garments, t-shirts, and polo shirts. Karachi is a bigger player when it comes to made-ups. Faisalabad is more into bed linen and household products. I did my schooling in Beacon House, Faisalabad. I did my O levels and A levels from Faisalabad, and then I did my undergraduate from Edinburgh University. I graduated in 2011. I stayed in Edinburgh doing some small jobs for a couple of years, and then I came back to Pakistan in 2013. And I was, if you are the son of a CEO, he wants you to join the company. So it was kind of natural that my father wanted me to join his company. I was a bit reluctant. That's why I stayed in UK for a couple of years. But when I came back, he wanted me to join the company and asked me, you can join marketing, you can join production, you can join finance, whatever you want to do it. The company was growing. The company had, doing at least 20 to 30% year-on-year growth. We had very capable managers at that time. And I joined the company, and I was like kind of doing a rotational training program. I was looking into different fields of the company. I was looking, a couple of days I would be sitting in the finance department. The other day I would be in production. So I just wanted to get to know what the business is and get a hang of it, and then decide where I want to move.
Yeah.
And that's back in 2013. So if there are a lot of people from Pakistan in this call, so they'll understand where I'm coming from. So back in 2013, there was a retail revolution. A lot of brands were coming up in Pakistan, like Khadi, Sana Safinas, Gul Ahmed. They were opening stores left, right, and center everywhere in Pakistan. So, Faisalabad, if they had Gul Ahmed had one store in Faisalabad in 2007, they would have 5 stores in 2013. So there was everybody was starting their own retail network. And all these guys, their background was in export. So they were all exporting their products to Europe and US. But in 2013, people started having more money. So there was more money to be spent. So, shops opened up. And I decided that I want to make my own brand. And, my father was kind enough that he gave me a designer and a merchandiser. And he said, okay, you develop your brand and we'll take it from there. So I started working on a brand. Took me a couple of months to come up with maybe 10 t-shirts and 10 hoodies. And then I placed an order with my own factory, my father's factory. And this was October. And they told me that, we are very busy. We've got great orders from Europe. So, we'll make your products when we have time. So maybe in 6 months' time,
Okay.
April, May, we'll make your production. And I was like, I wasted a couple of months. It's my father's factory. What are you telling me? And he was like, no, we don't even know that your business is going to work. So forget about it. Okay, so this is what happened. And I was very disappointed. I didn't know what to do. I was coming to factory from home one day, and my father is on phone with a guy in Canada, and we were exporting some collegiate hoodies and t-shirts to Canada at that time. And the call was very uncomfortable. The buyer in Canada said that I've gone bankrupt, and the production that you were supposed to send next week, don't send it. I have no money. And we are talking about $300,000. And he was like, what? So the Canadian company had given us $150,000 advance, and $150,000 they were going to send us when they received the product. But now we couldn't send the products to them. So we had $150,000 and $300,000 worth of merchandise that we couldn't sell it to them. And we had no other customers because it had their labels, it had their tags, it had all their branding. So now we had no idea what to do with those goods because it was a lot of money in Pakistan. $300,000 to this day is a lot of money.
Yes.
So we were stuck with those goods. And in 2013, Shopify was pretty big. It was like up and coming. Everybody was like talking about, why don't we there were a lot of mom and pop stores coming up in Europe and in US. So my father was like, okay, you wanted to start your own retail brand. This is a challenge for you. Why don't you try to sell this merchandise that I cannot sell to anyone? So do it. Okay. And I was like, okay, fine, because I had nothing else to do. And I was like, okay, this is a challenge. Maybe I learned something. So, and I was like, it kind of like, at the same time, I felt I had a challenge, but there was no pressure that even if I failed, nothing is going to happen. So I was like, okay, I'm going to come up with creative ideas and I'm going to just do it.
One question.
Yes.
Were they branded?
Yes, they were. So the company had gone bankrupt.
So they didn't
they were
bother.
like, so they were not bothered at all. They were like, you have to do something about this. And in Pakistan, there is a term called Lotia. So Lotia is this guy who comes to your factory and he buys goods that are left over. So there are canceled shipments, or like a shade wouldn't match with the. So the customer in US would say, I want this red, but the product is not that red. Like the shade would not match with the buyer's shade. So sometimes they'll just be so strict. They'll be like, okay, we are going to cancel this order, and we are talking about like thousands of pieces on this kind of quality inspection. So there are already people who go to factories and buy these goods. So we asked one of the Lotias to come to our factory and inspect the goods and give us a price. So we were exporting those sweatshirts at that time at $6 a piece. And he came and he said, I'm going to give you $1 for a sweatshirt. And so I was just like, my dad was sitting next to me and he was like, I think we can sell it for more than $1. So, try to sell it. And if it doesn't sell, we'll give it to this guy. And I just made a website on Shopify. I had no coding idea. I hadn't even learned that in university. So there was I used to go on YouTube and look at tutorials to basically build how to build a Shopify website and go to forums for anything. I had no idea how to build a website. Anyhow, I built a website. I didn't even have a digital camera at that time. I used to use my camera phone to take photos. Facebook was not that popular in Pakistan when it came to advertisement in 2013. If you used to post a photo, if you had a page and you used to post a photo, 50,000, 60,000 reach was pretty normal. So a lot of people used to see the post, but they wouldn't buy it because e-commerce was very new. So we posted those products. I was the customer support. I was everything, to be honest. I was putting up the size charts, taking photos, writing product descriptions, taking orders, canceling orders, packing stuff. Everything was me at that time. And so we posted photos and we made a few basic static ads and spent about $10 on Facebook, and we got maybe 3-4 orders in one day. And we're like, okay, this is good. And then a couple days later, we, I think, increased the budget to $30 to $40, and we got maybe 35 orders in a day. And the thing was, the prices were just so cheap. So the way we priced everything was, maybe the product costed us $5 to make, but the opportunity cost of selling it to somebody in Pakistan was $1. So our cost price was $1. It wasn't $5.
Hmm.
So if we sold anything over $1, if we were pricing the product at $3 or $4, we were making a profit of $3. That's how we perceived the prices. And so I posted that. We made orders. We got like 30, 35 orders. We had no systems in place at that time. I had to shut down the website and basically get a team who could do all of this, because one person doing customer support and packing 35 orders didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So we went back to the drawing board. I got some help from my father, and we started the website, and the website grew pretty quickly. And Faisalabad is a very small city. So when we started getting orders worth 100,000, which is like $1,000 a day, a lot of copycats came to the scene. So there were a lot of people. We used to call ourselves export leftovers, and a lot of people made their own page called Export Leftovers and started selling products. And the concept is there before that, but I was really pissed off that somebody is using my name to sell products that I don't have.
Yeah.
So I picked up a phone and called these guys up, and I was like, "Why are you using my name? You shouldn't be doing this." And they were like, "You cannot do anything. You don't have any trademark or copyrights or anything." So because it was like a couple of months old, I didn't have any plan that this business is going to get this big. I went to this guy, wanted to fight with this guy, but when I saw the products he had, because he was working with other factories, so we were making very basic stuff, but the products he had were amazing, like really, really good stuff, like products that were being retailed in UK high stores, for example, like Next and Marks and Spencer, Fat Face. So a lot of brands from UK he was selling in Pakistan at that time, and I was like, okay, I shouldn't be fighting with this guy. I should make an alliance with this guy and try to get the products he has and sell it on my platform. So that was another way that I kind of like made alliance and partnered with somebody who was not from my factory and started selling their products. And the sales were doing fine. The company was growing pretty well at that time. But in 2015, I said I wanted to do my master's. And then I came back to UK and I did my master's from Cass Business School. And there was like this startup cup where you had to pitch your idea and you win something. So like a couple of £1,000. And I pitched the ELO, the export leftovers idea, in the competition. I was already doing this business, but I pitched the same idea at the startup competition, and I got like £3,000. And then I had an opportunity to go to Denmark to go to attend the sustainability forum, sustainable fashion forum, and that was like a turning point in how the sustainability angle came into being. So we were doing all of this, but we were never saying that we were sustainable. We were pricing ourselves that, okay, if you want to buy a t-shirt from maybe Next, it's going to cost you 20 euros. But if you go to our website, it's going to be three euros, because we were just trying to cut the price and like get rid of the stuff. So the sustainability angle never came in. And at that conference, I got an opportunity to listen to the creative director of G Star Raw, which is a brand from Holland, about their new jeans, which they manufacture by going into the ocean and getting the plastic bottles out, and they regenerate into yarn, and then they make jeans out of it. Beautiful, beautiful presentation. And after his presentation, I went to the guy and I was like, okay, you're talking about sustainability and it's helping the environment and all that. How much does it cost? And he said 350 euros. And I was like, that's like maybe like a year's salary for somebody in Pakistan, like 100,000 rupees. How are you helping the environment by selling 100,000 rupee jeans or 350? Like half the people, like I think 99% of the people in Pakistan cannot afford that jeans. And even in Europe, even in UK, I don't know that many people who would buy jeans for 350 euros. And
Mm.
that was like a eureka moment for me, that if you are going to talk about sustainability, it has to be affordable and available for everyone. And that's
Mm.
how I changed the narrative of my company. So I graduated from CAS, I went back to Pakistan, and that's when I started making videos and started telling people about what we do and how sustainability comes into play with ELO, with export leftovers, because we are not making any garment. We are just selling stuff which is sitting in the warehouse.
Mm.
And then we came up with some data that there's about 60 million kilograms of fabric that used to be wasted every year. And we use that fabric to make clothes. So we were already selling leftover garments. And in 2016, we realized there was a lot of fabric that goes to waste as well. So I'll give you an example. Marks and Spencer, if you're working with Marks and Spencer, they'll come to us and they'll say, we need 500,000 t-shirts this summer. And they'll give us, we need 20,000 black t-shirts, 20,000 navy t-shirts, 20,000 red t-shirts, and they'll give us a whole list. And they'll place an order in January, and come April, they'll say, we project that the summer is not going to be that long in UK. We want to cut that order to 400,000 pieces. Now, so we have already made the fabric, but in April they tell us that we are going to reduce the order, and it's going to be 400,000 pieces, not 500,000 pieces. So what are we going to do with the 100,000 extra pieces? They'll pay us for that 100,000 extra pieces, but the fabric would still be sitting in the factory. The zips and the buttons and everything related to the garment is sitting in the factory. So we came up with an idea. Why don't we make a brand that only uses leftover products, that only use leftover accessories to make a product? So, when it comes to fashion, normally when a fashion designer sits on the drawing board, he'll say, I want a yellow sleeve, red buttons, or whatever zip, and then everything is manufactured. So what we did with Polo Republica, which is our sustainable fashion brand, is that we only uses whatever is left over. So if a yellow collar is left over and a green zip is left over, we'll try to come up with a design that only uses those parts. So, and the way we did it was, like, when it comes to even the cost of the garment, 70% of the t-shirt you are wearing is the cost of fabric, because labor is very cheap in Pakistan. And then it's like markups and margins and all that. But what the t-shirt you are wearing, about 70 to 80% is just the fabric cost. And for us, the fabric was actually, we were not emitting any carbon to make that garment. So it kind of like made a lot of sense, because we were getting fabric for cheap, and we were so we were getting the fabric for a very low price, and it was sustainable. So we kind of started saying that, we are starting a sustainable revolution. We are making everything affordable and available for everyone. And but the funny thing is that tagline in Pakistan doesn't work, because in Pakistan nobody cares about sustainability, nobody cares about the environment, because the annual income in Pakistan is about $2,000, so they don't have money to eat. They are not thinking about sustainability when they go to a store, which is very different to what happens in UK and US. They'll pay extra for that. So we were always targeting about sustainability when it comes to our advertisement, but it wasn't really working out. And we were like, okay, we're going to keep on pushing it. And there is an increasing pool of people who are interested in sustainability. But that was not the main factor which made us successful. It was the prices, because we realized being sustainable was actually cheaper. And if you use those leftover resources in a meaningful way, you can actually save a lot of money. So it was very, very interesting. If you have any questions, anybody from the team, and they can interrupt me anytime and stop me, because I'll keep on going. So if anybody has any questions, they can ask me, because this is what we did. And
It's a very interesting. I did not know that. The fact that sustainability was obviously, how is it perceived by your customer was my question, and you answered it. It's like it wasn't really perceived at all. It was the cost that was it. I'm like, So very interesting. Bilal?
Yeah. So actually, I do have one. So first and foremost, thank you for being here. So
cool.
I would like to know. I'm actually curious about ELO's marketing approach. So we often see them using the memes and the trending
Yeah.
topics for mimicry for their digital ads on platforms like Facebook, Instagram.
Mm.
So I would like to know how much effective that type of the cost optimized advertisement than the conventional sort of marketing. Does it bring the comparable results in driving the traffic?
Yeah, Bilal, great question. For us, I have to tell you that we have a very small marketing team, and we are only three people. And what I've realized in Pakistan is that whenever I invest money in models and product sets, uh, at the end of the day, when we are selling a product for like $5 or $4, people don't want to see those models. They want to see the real thing. And in Pakistan, we are talking about I sell about 12 to 15,000 garments a day, every single day, and I just have one website. We get about 120, 130,000 people. So what we have realized is that when it comes to social media, YouTube, Facebook, there is only two kind of content that works. One, educational, where you teach about your product, and the second one is entertainment. So with memes, we get a lot of engagement because people want to be entertained, and they work. And we try to kind of like convert the meme into what is related to ELO, how we can. So you saw the post with the Australia team winning the World Cup. We just changed the World Cup trophy with the ELO flyer, and it worked. It had like 8,000 people liking the post, which is crazy. I didn't spend a single penny on advertisement. It was just organic shares and likes and comments, and that is just so easy to achieve by doing these meme kind of marketing because it's funny, and it works really well with us. And then we have obviously made a funnel with the cold audience, with the middle audience, and the bottom funnel, which is retargeting the customer. And since we have been in the business for 10 years, we have a big pool of people. We reach about 40 million people every month with our advertisement, which is a lot. And we get about like 4 to 5 million people visiting our website every month. So that's a lot of people, and I feel like we are not a very expensive brand, so we don't want to spend money on expensive models and setting up expensive ads, and that's how we do it.
I mean, the organic growth, once it kicks in, is like, that's beautiful, right? So that just,
Yeah,
you're on the wave and that just keeps going. Um,
yeah,
so one question from me again. So the order system, like e-commerce in 2013, obviously it's back then it was different. Obviously it's changed a lot. There is
yeah.
cash on delivery. I mean, it's not like card payments. I mean, how did that work, and were you scared about it?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't even sure if it's going to be a business, so I had a lot. It was very uncertain, and cash on delivery is a big problem. Was a big problem, and I'll just give you a number. Um, the return rate in Pakistan is about 17 to 18%. Return rate is basically you place an order, customer doesn't receive it. The courier guy would knock on your door and he'll be like, "Oh, you ordered from ELO," and he'll be like, "What, ELO? I never placed an order," because he hasn't paid us. He is going to collect the money
Right.
from the customer on the gate on his doorstep. So 18% of all the orders placed are actually never received by the customer. So if you do a sale of $100, it's actually $82. That's the average sales in Pakistan. With ELO, because of our pricing, because of our systems, we have a return rate of 10%. So our success ratio is 90%, which is still quite bad, because in Europe you never hear this kind of things. If it's an order, it's an order. So we are talking about like, oh, I did sales of $100. Oh, actually, it's only $90, because $10 is going to be returned back to you. Is never going to be a sale. So it's a challenge. It's still a challenge, and I feel like it's not going to change until we switch to credit cards and mobile wallets. It's changing. We have about 10 to 15% digital payments, prepaid payments, but still the ratio is too low. And now I've accepted it. It's part of it's my reality now.
Okay. Thank you, Safi.
Yeah. So I just have a question related to a quality and the perception of the product. So you just mentioned that, for example, Marks and Spencer has placed an order of 500,000 T-shirts, right? But in April, you cut it down to 400,000. So you have 100,000 related garment pieces that are left over, right? So it could be some could be a shoulder, as you mentioned. So how do you actually maintain a quality of products made from the leftover fabric, and how do you ensure that the quality is specifically maintained? Because Marks and Spencer team, they do have a quality team. Actually check the product, and then they accept it. If there's any issue with the product or the fabric, they return it. But how do you maintain the same thing here in Pakistan using your sustainability model?
So basically, I'll just tell you what happens is, it would be the same fabric, it would be the same stitching, it would be the same thing. I'm telling you, we will only make 400,000 pieces. That extra 100,000 pieces, we would not make it for Marks and Spencer. We will make for our own brand, Polo Republica. But we are using the same fabric. We are using the same factory. Like, it's going to be my father's factory. I already make clothes for them. It wouldn't be the Marks and Spencer label. It would be my label.
Yeah.
But all the mechanism would be the same. All the processes that we are going to be using are going to be the same that we use for Marks and Spencer, because it's being done in the same factory, and we're using exactly the same fabric as well. So I don't. Yeah. So the QC department is the same. Everything is the same. Just the label is going to be different.
Because here in Pakistan, so basically I belong from Faisalabad as well. So I've kind of experienced this thing in my social circle and the community as well. And whenever they go to some sustainability stores such as ELO or some other online retail stores, they basically label the product as a leftover product from specific.
Yeah.
But when you check the quality of the product, it's not up to that particular standard.
Well, I feel that is a very different thing as well, because you go to ELO, you'll see products from Primark. So stop comparing Primark with Marks and Spencer, because the quality is going to be way different.
Yeah.
We are selling Primark products as well, and Primark sells a T-shirt for £3, and we are going to be selling this T-shirt for 300 rupees, and Marks and Spencer sells a T-shirt for £20. And we're going to be selling that T-shirt for 800 rupees. So if you want, you have to understand there is bad quality when it comes to exports as well. So if you're going to be buying a Primark product, don't think it's going to be a premium product, because that is being sold in Europe for a very low price.
Okay, got it.
Irshan?
Hello.
Hello. So can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. Hello, Umar. I read somewhere that about your marketing challenge. You mentioned in one of your interviews that whenever I was traveling with Divo or buses, I would go to.
I just posted it today.
Yeah, I was just going through your profile. Yeah, those kind of challenges, I understand for every successful startup, those challenges and maybe are multiplied by 100x factor, and then that's how a startup is built, or an organization is built. But today you were explaining your whole journey, and it felt like it was just a piece of cake. Like, it was just 2 months, I was getting orders of 100,000 per day and things like that. I understand. I mean, everyone understands that was not the flow. That was just the end product. What was the biggest challenge in all of your department at your start? Was it considering the market? Was it selling the products, keeping the audience, or getting into the financial details, or just selling the sustainability thing back into
No.
institution?
It wasn't the
What was the
sustainability.
biggest thing?
So the biggest challenge was building trust with the customer. Because in Pakistan, as you know, when it comes to buying stuff online, fraud hua hoega. You would have faced fraud. You would have bought something, and you would have received something totally different. And getting that trust system, because in Pakistan we don't, as a nation, we don't trust each other. So when it as like you don't want to pay before you get something. So you're in even in daily transactions you are like that. So for us, the biggest problem was that I'm going to get something online, I cannot touch it, I cannot feel it. What is going to happen when I receive the product? And with cash on delivery model, the courier is always going to ask you for money before he gives you the parcel. That was the biggest problem I had. And for that, we had to we were the first company in Pakistan to offer 30 days money back guarantee.
Okay.
Nobody does that. You go to a store in Pakistan, you go to Sapphire, you go to Khadi, you go to Gul Ahmed and say, I want to return this product. They'll say no. And if for some reason they'll accept, they'll say, oh, you can have a exchange voucher. And some of the times they'll even deduct like a 10% fee. So you bought something for 1,000 rupees, they'll give you a 900 rupees voucher. And I was like, okay, I lived in UK. I lived with, Jeremy knows, you go to a store in UK. If you want to return something, they'll give you a refund.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen in Pakistan. So beating the system, making customer believe in what we have to sell was the biggest issue. And I felt that social media came into play with that as well, because a lot of the times when I was starting off, a customer would send us a message that, with that red shirt, I want to see the sleeves, I want to see the buttons, I want to see the collars. You can do it with 20 orders, you can do it with 30 orders. They want you to send photos of all those things, that all those product features that they are asking for. And I had to send somebody in the warehouse, and he used to come bring the product out and take photos and WhatsApp to the guy. But if you're doing 100 orders a day, you can't do it. So that's why we started making those camera phone videos that you saw on Facebook, and we did paid advertisement on them. And believe you me that they had better return on ad spend than the ones we were using with models. Because in Pakistan, people don't believe in stuff. They want to see the raw footage of the product. They don't believe that if the model is going to be wearing it, it's the same product. They want to really see the footage on camera phone. So, and we realized it very quickly that that's what customer wants. We'll give it to the customer. So we listen to our customer a lot. If he had a pain point, we would try to address that pain point. And I feel being successful in Pakistan is like that. You cannot change the customer. Customer is very rigid. In Pakistan, you go to, everybody is a Seth in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Even if you have a motorcycle, you go to a cigarette shop, you'll, honk, and the guy would come out and you'll say, I want 2 Benson, and so everybody is a Seth in Pakistan. You cannot change that. I know he has no money, but he still wants to do that. And I know I cannot change the customer, so why not change myself? And that's what we did.
Very nice. Good
Okay.
question and a great answer.
All right, just a follow-up question. It's kind of an opportunity question at this moment. Since I'm talking to someone who has done this thing in Pakistan, and this 30 days money back guarantee, and so it's just as, for me, it's an opportunity because I belong to a very textile family as well. All my family has been in textiles. 3 major players in Sutar Mandi, the Khalid Market, the Harun Rashid, they all belong to like my relatives. But no one does this 30 days money back thing. So did this backfire with Pakistan community?
Of course it does.
What's the biggest thing?
There are people who are going to cheat you. They're going to cheat the system. It happens in UK as well. But even if it's 5%, why are you making 95% of the people suffer? So you have to really look at the odds. If you made a policy and it backfired, you can always change the policy. But you should give. You should benefit more people than people who are hurting you. That's
Sure. I
how
mean,
feel.
this kind of works the same way Amazon came in with the return policy. I mean, the customer has so much rights that anybody can open up a MacBook Pro and then return it, and they'll take it. They're not going to say anything. But now, instead of going to eBay, people go to Amazon because of the return policy and because they know that they have the flexibility there and the peace of mind. So I think that kind of works. Thank you. Talha?
Thank you.
So yes, thank you, Umar, first of all, for coming here and talking with us. Very useful insights. And the question is basically around retail versus e-commerce in respect of sustainability. Like my biggest question is like I just want to take your view on this. What do you think about the cost that e-commerce has on the like packaging, on like the shipment, and for each and everything like boxed in separate items, boxed in separate packages? Like, what is your take on that? In case if you are living in UK, you can order anything out of Amazon, all right, and it will come to your doorstep packaged in a box and something like this. So it's very useful for the customer, but for the environment, if we're thinking about the sustainability term, I don't think it's very helpful or like it's helping the environment.
Like again, it's still cheaper than it's still more environmental friendly than opening up a store with countless lights and definitely retail produces much more carbon footprint than online. Like I'll just give you an example. The plastic we use in our flyers is recycled and it's biodegradable. Even with the packaging, the boxes we use are biodegradable. So if you keep the box sitting on outside for 3 years, it will decompose itself. So that's a lot more sustainable than going to a store, I would say.
Okay, thank you. Like you guys have considered this all, right?
Yeah, well, obviously, when I was trying to sell the sustainability angle, I realized in 2016 after university that whatever I do, I have to be sustainable. And before that, I was not doing it because I was not selling that angle. And if you want to sell something in a sustainable way, you have to be sustainable. Otherwise, you won't be able to. You're just fooling yourself, and you're lying to yourself. And I would never want anyone to lie to themselves because then life is going to be horrible. So don't lie to yourself. If you believe in it, believe it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But don't tell yourself that you're doing the right thing and then you're not doing it. So I wouldn't want to be like, I am sustainable, but the boxes that I'm sending you the products in are not sustainable, but I'm going to tell it anyway that they are sustainable. So don't do that.
Yeah, no, thank you, Talha. One question from me. I also see that the employees are given a lot of prominence on your marketing as well. So you see who's actually made a T-shirt. What's the idea about that? Why did you do that?
So, I think you might remember this. I think it was like 2012, 13, 14, 15, something like that. I was in UK and then there was a big meat debate on where the meat comes from. Yes. And, so I was kind of like, people are taking so much attention into asking questions where their meat comes from. But as a textile owner, I've never been asked about, who made your clothes. And I felt that this is a more pressing topic than about meat because, it's a huge industry in Pakistan and they ought to know about the stories, about the struggles these guys have. And they put a picture to the people who made their clothes and I wanted to do something about it. So I came back and we started documenting our employees and sharing their stories and we saw a very good feedback that people, those people have lives as well. They have stories to tell. They have kids. They have ambitions. They have goals. And for some reason, if they couldn't do that, it was just like an appreciation post for them, and it kind of like connected my audience with the people who made their clothes, and there were like so many good wishes for the people who made the clothes, and it was a very positive impact on my employees and and customer side. It was great for marketing. It was great for the morale of the employees as well. So it was a win-win situation for everyone. There was no losers, to be honest. And I feel like a successful business is always a business where it's a win-win situation.
I think that's a very, very interesting way, because obviously we do a lot of software stuff. You do actual tangible things,
Yeah.
even though we do some tangible thing. But for us, for me especially, in running this company, the assets of the company is not what we are building. I think it's the
Yeah.
people. It's
Of
the people.
course.
So and if I'm not going to make sure that everybody in the company is comfortable and they are also gaining strength in the company by learning more all the time, then I think the company may not survive. Because for nowadays, for a company to survive, you have to keep on innovating, keep on going further, and you can't do it on your own. You have to, it's the employees, it's the team that's going to help you achieve that overall. So I think that was very nice that you also showcased behind the scenes, which is very good. We can take a few more questions. Anybody else in the team? Shabab, go for it. You're on mute if you're talking, Shabab. Try again. Can't hear you. Just type in your question if you can't. I can't hear you still. Okay, just rejoin. He's going to try again. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Umar, for joining, and I really enjoyed the whole process that you elaborated. My question is basically, there is a huge push from European brands to register their users, and they have been using a lot of recommendation engines on the back end, a lot of AI stuff, and loyalty and rewards as well to get users to register. And I just want to know from someone who is practically doing this, how effective are they? And do you think there's a place for them in Pakistan?
Oh, 100%, man. Like if you, like when it comes to loyalty points, we started doing loyalty points, but in Pakistan, people are always like, okay, I'll tell you the very simple reason why we canceled our loyalty program. It was that we were selling a T-shirt for 300 rupees and he would earn like 10 loyalty points. We were getting more inquiries about the loyalty points than actually buying the product. So they would be like, अगर हम ये खरीदेंगे हमें कितने loyalty points मिलेंगे, and you're like, यार मैं 300 रुपए की T-shirt बेच रहा हूँ, तो just get the T-shirt. And because we realized that if you give a discount straight up, it works better than loyalty points. But when it comes to referrals, so for example, if you refer the website to somebody, they should get something. So we have this collaborator program, which is like a brand influencer, brand ambassador program, and we ran it. So if you send us an email and if you want to be a brand ambassador, how it works is that for every order placed by a customer, he gets a 10% discount. So if something is for 1,000 rupees, he'll get it for 900, and you'll get a commission for every order made. So if somebody uses a code with your discount, if somebody places an order with your discount code, you'll actually earn commission, and it works really well. And a lot of companies in Europe and US, like Gymshark, they began it with that. They made these mini influencers using referral programs, affiliate marketing, and it works. To a smaller scale, because in Pakistan, when some influencer comes in, you tell him about that, they'll be like, oh, I don't want to do that. Just give me $100 and I'll make a bunch of posts and make videos and that's it. Because in Pakistan, with a company like mine, where average order value is only $10, even if I give a 10% commission, he's just going to make $1. And he doesn't want that. He just sees like, okay, I'll make content for you for $100. So this is the reality in Pakistan. So it works, but again, the bigger influencers are not interested in doing business like that with you.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, just a follow up on this. For example, if we follow through, of course, we have the purchase history and stuff. which can be used to deduce when a buyer is gonna purchase certain type of item, right?
Yeah.
So how effective is that? Like,
Oh yeah, that is very effective. Like there are a lot of like LimeSpot. I don't know if you know about this company. They make like how do you say personalized website for you. So basically, if you're a customer of ELO, the main screen, the referrals, the featured products would look different for you. We were using that, but then they had some issues with some stuff, but it worked really well. You could see an uplift in the purchase in average order value, and yeah, if you're a female, you'll see female products. If you're a man, you'll see man products. And why should I be, if I don't buy female products, why should I be looking at them? So it just changed the layout of the website, and it used to work really well for us.
Nice. One last question, Max.
Sure.
Yeah, so just firstly, thank you very much. It was really interesting to hear about that backstory, especially with the opportunity that presented itself and sort of how you took it and grew it on to where it is now, but especially with the focus on sustainability. So given that ELO started in 2013, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
what have you observed sort of in the customer interest side and sustainability sort of over this time, maybe for different people, regions, cities, and has it sort of grown? Obviously, it's a massively important and growing topic. So is it sort of as you expected about 10 years ago as well?
Like in Pakistan, we have kind of like switched back and forth when it comes to sustainability. We still do a lot of stuff. I'll show you something. 1 second. We'll do like now we are just so the goal at the moment is that we have to eliminate all textile waste in my father's factory. So 1 second, I'll show you something. So, for example, this is a zip case that we made out of the. So in textiles, you get this piece of fabric. So this page is a piece of fabric, for example.
Yeah.
I'll just draw something for you to explain it a bit better. So this is a T-shirt. Can you see the T-shirt?
Yeah.
So in a machine, it's called a GGT machine. So it'll calculate the fabric you have, and it'll make these small parts of T-shirts. So the collar, everything like that. So the bits in the side would be cut. So if you have like 100 meters of fabric, about 87% of the fabric is used. 13% is left over that you cannot make anything out of it. So what we started doing was we started making these bags, pouches, zip cases, and now what we are trying to focus on is that we are eliminating waste, because customer at the end of the day in Pakistan doesn't want to pay more or doesn't want to pay the same price. So what we are trying to do now is that we are using the leftover bits to make products, because they would otherwise be wasted. So this is the shift that we have done. Is now we are, when it comes to sustainability, we talk about these products more than the T-shirts and the Primark story, the Marks and Spencer story I told you.
Interesting. That's very clever. I didn't realize it's quite high actually, 87%. If you imagine a T-shirt,
Yeah.
sort of how much you have to.
13% is leftover. Is basically you cannot make anything out of it. So we sometimes the zips we made extra zips, and so this basically I'll show you an example. This is a zip for a pocket of a jacket, and we had no orders of jackets anymore, and we had these zips sitting there in the factory. So we said, okay, we'll make a zip case, and we'll actually use that a zip which was supposed to be on a jacket. So a lot of we really try to make most use of the resources we have, and do reverse designing. unlike the main designers do.
Very
Last
good.
question. Last question. So now, obviously, it's coming from your dad's factory, right? The leftover things. Has your dad changed, and he wants to reduce the waste he's producing? And how is that going to affect your business?
Well, he tries to reduce the waste as well, but these things cannot be, how do you say, stopped. It's part of the process. It's always going to be there. You know, he has got like automatic cutters and all that, but it has reduced it. Like if you do manual cutting, it would be like maybe 84% or 83%. With the machines, it has improved the efficiency to 87%. And now with the bigger pieces, we make some stuff for, like, we can make baby rompers with that, which we have done, which is very interesting. We make underwears with that. So he's saying, okay, you know, I'm getting this fabric leftover, which I was selling the bits. If somebody is from Faisalabad, he'll know the lot you would buy these bigger leftover pieces as well. But, you know, the price would be so low. So, you know, like it would be maybe 50 rupees kilo. And if we make an underwear and we sell it, we can sell an underwear for 300 rupees. So it makes more sense to use that leftover bit and bring it to the operations of the company. So he uses his machines, he uses his idle workforce in making stuff out of the leftover fabrics, and he's happy that, you know, otherwise people were sitting idle. Now he can use those workers and make stuff out of that leftover. So it's interesting. It's a win-win situation for all of us.
Yes, win-win situation. That's it. I would like to thank you. I mean, we would go all day asking questions because it's such a great topic, and I think, you know, sustainability being such a hot topic in many fields. You know, as wisely Tesco says, every little helps. You know, so if everybody's contributing towards you know, sustainability, overall we are making a big change. And you know, hats off to you for what you've done, and wish you all the very best and success. And yeah, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Jeremy. It was a pleasure. It was great talking to you guys.
Likewise. Thank you. Let's catch up later. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye.